Hey guys, and welcome back to another Warframe video. Today we are going to be revisiting our Khora farming build. For those of you who have been keeping up to date with the game, you will know that recently Khora has been given her own exalted weapon. After so many years, she should have been given it in the first place, but there we go. We now have ourselves a Whipclaw Prime. Now this has a few implications. The first one being that Khora's first ability, her Whipclaw, no longer scales off of your melee weapon, which means for anyone who was holding on to a hefty stat stick Riven mod, I'm afraid the value of that has probably gone down by quite a lot. But what it does mean is that actually, in the grand scheme of things, you can get a lot of damage on your Khora's first ability, and the utility now that we have with it, it just makes it flow a bit better, and perhaps for newer players joining the game, this just makes way more sense than the system used previously, because I've been asked so many times, you know, how you get so much damage on Khora's first ability and they have no idea that it scales off of your melee weapons mods. There's nothing really that explains that clearly anywhere, so yeah, this is all in all a good change in my opinion. So today I want to go through the build that I am using, that I have updated to. I just want to point out right now that I have not delved greatly into the new content, the Hex content that we now have, so there's probably going to be quite a few mods, weapons, whatever, that have come out in those updates that I am not yet kind of overly familiar with, so I'm sticking to my good and trusty mods that have been in the game for a while, and hopefully, therefore, they might be a bit easier to obtain as well for people who are striving to get to this build or something similar. So let's have a quick look at our Khora here. You can see right away that my aura mod slot is not polarized correctly. This is simply because I've just been messing around with it and haven't bothered to put on another former at this point, but yeah, it still has enough capacity just about to take hold of it. So we are running with quite a lot of duration, enough for about 40 seconds on our fourth ability, Strangle Dome, which is essentially what's going to be farming all the resources. And then we've got Nourish, which I have put on as well using the Helminth. This is basically just to apply viral damage to our first ability, and that will become evident why when we get into the mission and look at our Whipclaw Prime's build as well. We are actually going to basically be using all of these abilities for this run, so it's a really nice rounded build and they all interact and synergize well with each other. Ensnare we will be using to deal with our acolytes, and Whipclaw obviously being the primary damage dealing ability we've got on here. And we are running Pilfering Strangledome Augment for additional loot drop chance. I just want to clarify because someone did ask this in the comments. I didn't ask actually, they just stated outright. If you have a resource that has a 100% drop chance, for example Oxium from Oxium Ospreys, it is not the case that this mod will do nothing. This mod obviously increases your Oxium game from farming Oxium Ospreys. It is 65% additional loot drop chance, not, you know, just 65% loot drop chance. It's additional loot on top of what you get. Alright, so I just want to make that quite clear. This will increase your drop chance. If you test it, you will see quite clearly that that is how it works. Accumulating Whipclaw, obviously another augment for our first ability. That's going to provide us with a decent amount of damage. And I am running Arcane Fury and Arcane Energize, but the sheer scale of the damage that this build can do now, this is not strictly speaking necessary. Arcane Energize is a nice touch, but actually you can run Zariman if you want to get your Energize, or your Energy, sorry, not your Energize. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it in case you lose your combo counter, but combo counter stacks up very nicely. Gladiator Finesse I have put on here just as a bit of a stopgap for when we roll in to put down our new Strangle Domes, but it also synergizes well with our melee, which we will take a look at now. So, Whipclaw Prime. This is what I have settled on. Now I am running Melee Vortex, which means that when we kill an enemy affected by a magnetic status effect, we have a 45% chance to pull in enemies in an 18-meter radius. This does in fact work now, so yeah, I've thrown that on there, and I'm basically going to be using magnetic for all factions, regardless of their resistances, because this actually really helps in pulling enemies that might just be sat there shooting their teammates. And the rest of it is just geared towards stacking up crit chance and also status chance. So we've got Voltaic Strike and Vicious Frost to get our magnetic status effect there. And then I've got Gladiator Might and Organ Shatter for that crit damage, and Gladiator Might is also stacking with Gladiator Finesse on our main build to give us more melee critical chance per combo counter, stacking with Blood Rush over here. That actually allows us to get up to red crits, or about 50% red crits, I would say, maybe slightly less than that. And then I'm using Condition Overload because the sheer number of elements that we're going to be applying to enemies here just makes Pressure Point a bit lackluster against Condition Overload in this instance. And then Sacrificial Steel, just to give us that initial bump to our crit chance. And yeah, that's pretty much the build on that, guys. And then in terms of our pet, this is obviously a farming build. So we are running a Chesa Build. The Chesa Build has the chance to kind of re-roll an enemy's loot pool, similar to Necros' ability. However, it is on a much reduced cooldown. Honestly, you can run whatever companion you choose. It really doesn't matter all that much anymore, as long as you are able to fit on the Resourceful Retriever mod, because this is essentially going to provide us with 20% extra resources at the end of the day, if you go for a very long period of time. And everything else just geared towards keeping it alive. Retrieve for that ability that we just mentioned, scavenging loot from fallen enemies. Prime Down on Instinct for loot radar and enemy radar, and then Fetch to pull in all of those lovely resources that we get dropped. And that is essentially the core of the build, guys. There's nothing really else to discuss on this. I will say that if you wanted to run on your gear wheel some squad energy restores, then by all means do so, but they are not overly important. So yeah, let's hop into, I think what we'll do, let's maybe just do Ferrite. I'm not going to do any of the fancy ones like Oxium right now, although this works, you know, exactly the same way as my previous videos on those. So if you are interested, go and have a look at those and just use this build. But yeah, let's maybe do a Ferrite farm, and we will see how much we can clock up. I am running a resource drop chance blessing, a resource booster, and a resource drop chance booster as well. So hopefully we can really get some resources flooding in. Alright guys, so we're on Annie in the Void, and we are on Steel Path mode. I should have also noted as well that on both our Venari and our Kubrau, we are running Elusive Posture. That just means that they're not going to run into the enemy line of fire and cause the enemies to attack them, thereby slowing down their progression towards our Strangledome. So what we're going to do, I'm basically going to probably just keep this going for about 20 minutes, and we will see how much resources, how many resources, sorry, we have at the end of it. You can see already just the sheer scale of damage here. Even with a very good stat stick, which I had before, this, I believe, is doing just way more damage than the previous builds, just because of how the damage scaling now works on the combo counter. So yeah, it's pretty nutty. And maybe what we'll do as well, I'll just show us killing the Acolyte, because although to begin with it's kind of slow, it does speed up once you've hit him once or twice. So yeah, we'll keep going through. We're obviously going to get quite a few Argon crystals from this, I'd wager. So yeah, let's see how we do it. Alright, so this is our second Acolyte this morning. Unfortunately, I coughed very loudly during what I was gonna say. So yeah, let's see how fast we can take down this guy. There we go. What's good as well about running Magnetic against these guys is that obviously their shield just vanishes instantly, which is really very useful and saves us an extra 1 or 2 swings. I've just realised there's no Strangledome down. That's good. But yeah, like I said, guys, I'm going to go to about 20 minutes and then see where we're at. But just to give you an idea of what we've got so far, we're up to 38 Argon crystals and we are 9 minutes in. So yeah, can confirm you can get quite a few resources with this build. But yeah, we're going to keep going. Okay, so 20 minutes of farming with this new build, and we got ourselves 78 Argon crystals. We got ourselves 207,000 ferrite. That is a lot of ferrite. We got 7.5k rubido. Nothing really to chat about there. It doesn't drop too readily in the void. And is that it? We got 16 ribbon slivers. That's nice. 24 steel essence. Yeah, I mean, ferrite is the main one you want to be looking at for the void. I mean, to put that into perspective, 207,000. If we take a look at, what is it? Is it ciphers that use it? Yeah, so For 100 ciphers we need 36,000. I mean, so we basically got enough there for 500 ciphers in the space of about 20 minutes, which is pretty good. And the best way to kind of measure these builds is to actually just look at how many kills you got and compare that to, you know, how long you were in the mission for. So we got 3,090 kills. I'm not sure where the extra one came from aside from melee kills. That's interesting. And we were, you know, farming for, like we said, 20 minutes. The 1 minute was getting obviously into the mission and out of the mission. So yeah, we're looking at what, about 150 enemy kills a minute. So it's pretty hefty now, this old Khora. And one thing I just wanted to quickly note here, which I forgot to kind of mention at the start, was the skill tree actually, or our focus tree. We are running Narrowman, so just to show you what Narrowman can do. Power Spike is what's stopping our combo counter from dropping too rapidly, so we only drop by 5 if we are out of combat for too long. Affinity Spike, obviously if you want to get extra affinity, it's always nice. And then there are a few other things which are just useful in here, but it's Power Spike which is the main one for use on this build. So yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know, please let me know if there are any mods that have been released more recently, because like I said, I haven't been following along with the content too closely. But if there are any mods which you know which will synergize really, really well with this, then please let me know down in the comment section. Be happy to read through those. I do love a bit of constructive criticism, so yeah. Go ahead, let me know how you guys have been finding the new Khora. Let me know your thoughts on the removal, essentially, of stat stick ribbons now. And yeah. Hopefully, like I said, you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one, guys. I'll see you later.